Hey everybody, it's Stalker 13R bringing you another episode of Team Able. Team anything but last, and we like to start the day with a little ram kill. Nothing like bullying lower tier guys, unless you are the lower tier guy. Come on down, I dare ya. Alright, today we're going to look at the Object 252U, and it's a premium tank that you can buy in the garage. I bought it. It's not like on loan from Wargaming or anybody like that. I'm not near that famous yet, so, and probably never will be. But I wanted to support the game, so it was a good opportunity to keep the servers running and keep the game going for us all. And it's a type of tank I don't normally play. I don't normally play that traditional, super heavy derp gun tank, so there's a lot of areas on these maps that Stalker 13R doesn't usually go to. And the town on this map, Heilbronn, is one of them. So I'm going to get in there and I'm going to expand my knowledge and work on a new skill set within World of Tanks, because as you know here on the channel, we always say that the situation dictates, and you may have to assume any tank role in the tank that you happen to be in at the time, not just what's ideal for the tank that you're in. And you're going to see later on in the game, I'm going to have to be the spotter, and I'm going to have to move around and take on that role, even though my view range is pretty poor and my speed is not bad, but it's certainly not what you would think is ideal for being a spotter. So we'll get to do that, play the role that's needed, not the role that your tank is ideally suited for. And the main focus here is going to be on, there's the stratagem of, once you win your flank, be prepared to fall back to base. And I think that's getting a lot of traction. You're seeing that happen in the games a lot more often. So this video really demonstrated, and then what? What do you do after you win your flank and fall back to base and save from being capped? You see a lot of people make a few big mistakes, so we're going to focus on that when we get there. But first off, we're going to see who's coming to the town with us, and we're going to see if I'm learning anything about how to drive this tank. Now you've seen a lot of videos about, like this tank or the Defender, or, any of those that are similar. Oh, who put that there? Have that painted red. I think that's a Submariner joke. So if you're a Submariner, let me know in the comments. So you see a lot of hype about these, 252Us and, the Defender, and, they're so overpowered, and it's going to be a beast, and you'll be absolutely unstoppable. Well, take it from Stalker 13R. You are not unstoppable, because, like I say, this is not a tank style I usually play, and, my win rate's starting to come up, but it is still below 50% in this particular vehicle, which is uncommon for my vehicles. So, I'm not as fast as some of my friends here, or maybe I took the wrong path, because they know how to get here quicker than I do. But I want to get our tank roles sorted out, because I got to get out in front, and I got to use my armor and my presence of threat to kind of bully these folks so that we can keep our TD's guns in the game longer. We had a 3601 move up with us. It's a great tank. He is bottom tier, so I got to be, getting in here, being the aggressive player. And I, took a shot there. I bounced a couple as well. They're shooting premium at me, and why wouldn't you? When the tank commander says to the loader, hey, we've got a premium tank in front of us, what kind of ammo should we shoot at it? The obvious answer is premium. So we're going to go ahead and take a couple of shots here. Now I've stopped here because I wanted to move up aggressively and get into that position where I'm the focus of attention for the enemies. But I don't want to go too far in right away with potentially an auto-loader and another heavy, right there that could swarm me, and then still have time to get organized to deal with my tanker wingmates here. So these other two vehicles have moved up on the right side. I'm going to give them just a little time to get set, try to take some of this attention over here, and then I'll push up as soon as they're set, and we'll do a little miniature bound. So I'm going to move up this corridor, and we're going to keep the pressure on these guys. I've still got that TD watching over my shoulder. I think he's going to move up here in a second. and support, and look, we've already split them. So instead of having both of them on the one corner with that DPM of both guns going, now we've split their forces. So now it's just a matter of playing the waiting game. So I'm going to, try to bait some shots. I'm going to try to get this guy to lose that patience game and overexpose. So I'm going to bounce a few rounds, and I'm getting better at that here. Bouncing a lot more shots in the game. It's definitely not an auto bounce, and when this tank is bottom tier, it is definitely not a beast. It is not something that you can just drive around and do whatever you want in. So if you have that concept in your mind from some of the videos that you've watched, just be aware. You've still got to execute a lot of skill. And for me, this is a different set of skills than I'm used to implementing in tanks. It's not my normal style. So if you want to branch out, by all means, get it done. Now you can see I won the patience battle there, and I got this guy. Now you saw when I turned it steep, he's really going for that lower plate, and I'm kind of baiting him with it. And I'm even over-angling my side armor just to get that super steep angle on my lower plate that I know he's shooting at. So, if you're focusing on that lower plate only, it can be a trap. So I often, use that bait to over-angle my side armor, but then have a very steep angle on my lower plate when I know that's what they're aiming for. I can bounce that shot anyway, and then get the shot in on them. Something that's been working out for me. I don't know if that's a normal stratagem for these heavy tankers up at this, top tier. We are top tier at tier 8 today, so there's still a lot of middle tier in the game, but we're going to set this guy on fire, and look at that. We've won our flank, and the "you're not winning" siren is going off in the background. So the TDs are going to move smartly back through town. Now I see we've got one heavy down here he's in a one-on-one with a heavy tank, and he's distracted. So I've got to get down there and give him some help. And at first I'm going to debate whether to go on the outside and see if there's anybody else that's going to try to screen and get in our way to go to cap. But then I think better of it, and I think I better take the covered route. And look at that. There's a brand new Guardian STG. Those are brand new this weekend at the time of recording. And we'll come back and deal with him later. But it looks like that heavy tank was able to clear that way, and now it's a clear path. But they've got 3 guys on the cap. 23 seconds left, and there we get a reset. I think one of them just left. I don't think that we actually shot anyone. Had that person stayed in there, I think they might have capped us out. But they didn't, so we're going to continue on, and we're going to push back here to save cap. Now this is a little bit longer range than this tank is ideally suited for, but we're going to go ahead and get a lucky shot in anyway. Shooting at about this range is, and you can get, it's a big target that I've got. I should have switched to sniper mode a little bit earlier. There was some good visuals on this. So now, even though those TDs can see farther than I can, I've got the armor. Now at tier 8, I'm potentially a one-shot for a lot of the vehicles that are in the game. But I've got the armor, so I've got to get out in front. I've got to still take that attention off of these TDs and keep it on me, so that I can keep their guns in the game. And there I'm taking a round, they see me, I can't see them. So I'm just going to keep on the gas until we get them lit. And now I'm aiming in on this T-29, and he just gets taken out just as I'm about to pull the trigger. Don't you hate it when you don't see that and your round's already gone and he dies just before your round gets there, and then you get to sit in the open and reload while looking at his buddy? So we're going to switch it over to sniper mode now for this last part. And, it takes me a little bit of editing. I'm going to work on that in the future and see if I can get more of that kind of footage into my videos. But so we've won our flank, we've fallen back to base, and now here's the key piece for this video. Is now what? So many times you see people go, okay, well you stay here and guard the base, and I'll go on to cap, or okay, you go to the left flank and I'll go to the right flank, and then we'll flush them out. And what they end up doing is giving the last 3 enemy vehicles 3 one-on-one fights instead of a 3-on-3. Or being able to outnumber them 3-2. So even though we've got one guy going off to the flank here, we're still in the same area of the map and we're still supporting each other. Now as I drive forward, I'm going to drive forward at an angle, never straight at that enemy. It makes that artillery track 2 different vectors of movement, and it keeps my armor angled the whole time. Because that lower plate, if it is caught flat, it will go right through. So there, I've got my teammate firing over my shoulder. I'm going to angle out again, and I get tracked in the open in front of the artillery. Now, had we left one of those TDs back to guard the base, I'd be tracked in front of that artillery, and I'd be having a bad day right about now, and they'd be whittling down our numbers instead of us whittling down their numbers. So the big question of what do you do after you fall back to base? You stay together as a team. We fell back as a team. You know, these are the same guys that I was over in the city with, and we went there as a team. We fell back as a team. Then when we pushed forward as a team. And together, we put a win on the board. So again, this isn't an individual game where Stalker 13R had an epic replay, but we're answering that question. What do you do after you fall back to base? And then what? And well, stay together as a team is always better. When you're down at that last end of the game, and your player pool on your side is getting smaller and smaller, consolidate. If there's one guy way out on the left and 2 guys on the right, those 3 players should consolidate into one group, so that you can use your firepower and your DPM for all of your vehicles together against the enemies that you come across. But don't offer them a series of one-on-one fights. You know, that's how, you know, a lone surviving tank can pull victory out of what would have been a defeat, is when you split your forces to go and hunt them down and end up getting taken out one at a time. So it's a team game. Always stay together as a team, and you'll put more wins on the board. So fight and survive to win together. I'm Stalker 13R, and this is Team Able. Anything but last.